Top questions. Joe from Memphis, Tennessee wanted to know what are parts of the job that the public doesn't know about that really suck. Joe is studying criminal law and he's thinking about becoming a cop or a federal agent. Great question, Joe. Let me think about what are the parts of the job that aren't obvious to most people, stuff that you see in the movies and read in books. Paperwork. People kind of mention it. You know, you'll hear it once in a while on a TV show about the paperwork, but in my years, in almost my 20 years, I saw the paperwork not double but triple of everything you had to do every day. And think about this. Let me take you to starting your day. In my city, in Aventura, we wore our uniforms to work. I guess there's some departments where you put on your uniform while you're there, and I guess you could in Aventura bring it in your car. But once you put on your uniform and you leave your house, you're on duty, whether you're officially on duty or not. Once you're wearing a police uniform, you got a gun on your hip, you're on duty. So whatever emergency, going out to your car, driving to the station in your police car, you have to handle. So you're immediately a cop the second you get dressed. Once you get into work, you have what's known as roll call. Most places have roll call. Sit down, they give you what's going on in the neighborhoods, they give you what things that you need to be aware of. Briefings, maybe you had a robbery the day before and they want to talk about how people set up their cars, blah, blah, blah. So they break for roll call. Sometimes roll calls as short as 15 minutes, and sometimes you get a supervisor that just loves to hear his voice and he'll talk for an hour. So sometimes it gets brutal. You get out of roll call, what's the next thing you got to do? Check your voicemails, check your emails. So you start listening to your voicemails on your phone. You say, "Oh, officer, you need to call me back. I was this person in a car accident. I need to give you this piece of information. You didn't take that information. You wrote down the wrong this number. Take care of that." Go through your emails. Go through all your emails. Then you have to relearn if there's new statutes, there's changes to the laws. You have to learn, you have to sign off on those things. Then you have to sign off that you understand the paperwork. Then you got to look at your courts. What days do you have court? A lot of times on your days off, you have court. You got to show up at court. Think about that, like days on your days off, you got to show up at court. It sounds fun at first, but it's not later in your career. During any emergency, hurricane, disturbances, riots, no, you're not going home. You know, they can hold you over. It's not a job where you can just say, no, I finish at 10 o'clock. Police is paramilitary, so they say you have to hold over, you're stuck. You have to stay after your shift on midnights, because midnights is short. So you just work from 3 till 10, I'm sorry, 3 to 11, and now they're saying you got to work from 11 to 8, another 16 hours. So those are some of the parts of the job that can kind of suck. You arrest a juvenile now, I mean, you're literally doing 2 hours of paperwork for a shoplifter or something. Then if the juvenile is pregnant, or if the juvenile was fighting you, it's like 50 pages. And then the documentation for juvies got so bad that we started having a form for the forms. Did you fill out the form for the forms for the juvies? So part of you, if you're a police officer, you want to be out there helping the public, and you want to be out there on the streets patrolling, and you want to stop a bad guy from robbing or harming somebody. You can't, because you're just in the station doing hours and hours of useless paperwork. So, those are kind of some of the things that are a little bit frustrating that maybe the public doesn't understand. Plus, there's always a new program for our computers. So now, we're completely, I started out, there was no computers. Everything was paperwork. But now everything is through the computer. So you have all these software companies that come in with these new programs. Every month they're changing a program. So now you have to relearn a brand new program on how to do this, how to do that. It's a nightmare. It is a nightmare. So, it's not what it's cracked up to be. You're not just jumping in your car and chasing people and saving the world. You're doing a lot of paperwork. Hey, keep the questions coming. Thanks, guys.